is when you run your Google ads, there's a few considerations. Anybody can set up a Google ad. You could do it now in probably 10 minutes, but it's going to be effective. And there's a number of criteria that make it work. What it does is when Google creates an ad, it gives you a quality score. And this is based on a number of things, including your website. If your website isn't of good quality, your score goes down, which means effectively when you run Google Ads, it's a bidding war and you will be paying more than your competitors that do have a better website.
This is the Business Owners Smashing It Online podcast for entrepreneurs and business owners looking for cool online tools, apps and strategies to make business easy online. My name is Nick Cree and I'm your host. Each episode features a guest expert demystifying the online universe, sharing inspirational ideas and providing tested real-world strategies to help you get the most of what's available online to grow your business today. Don't be a slave to your business. Get your business working for you. Subscribe now and get some great content and ideas for you and your business today. All right, well, now it's time for our main billing. So it is my pleasure to introduce to you Tim Button. Now, Tim and I have known each other for probably 2 or 3 years, or probably longer actually. And we first met online. So I think it might have even been 3 or 4 years before we actually physically met, and we met in Brisbane at a conference in Brisbane run by a friend of ours, which was Damien Pepworth. So he runs a outsourcing agency for web and digital agencies for them. So we met for the first time there, and we've caught up with each other on and off. But Tim's had an interesting career. You'll be able to tell from his accent that he's not originally from Australia. But then none of us are we? So most of us here are imports of some way, shape or form. But he's a digital marketing specialist. He did, I don't know whether he actually knew Lady Diana or he was just involved in publishing her book. But he's got some interesting ties into royal family as well too. But he's over in Australia. He is a digital person. He's been online for quite some time, known as a client attraction strategist as well. So it is my pleasure to hand over to you tonight, Tim. So let's give Tim a big round of applause, or a virtual round of applause.
Well, thank you guys. For those of you who don't yet know me, my name is Tim Button. I'm known as a client attraction strategist. And yes, I'm originally from England. Blimey. I grew up in England with normal parents that were business owners, a brother and a sister. And I started off as a graphic designer working in high-end advertising agencies in London. And I decided I wanted to go to Australia. So literally at the age of 23, I packed up a portfolio, a suitcase, scraped together $700 and got on a plane and flew to Melbourne. What do you know? So in Melbourne, I started working with, again, design agencies. And it was an interesting time because it was around 1996 and the world was changing. This thing called email popped up and the internet popped up. And the agencies I was working for didn't want anything to do with it because they didn't understand it. And I didn't understand it, to be perfectly truthful, but I knew it was here to stay and it was going to make a big difference. So what I did was I threw myself, like I do, headlong into courses, learning about it. And in 1999, I built my first paid website. And I kept doing it. And I had a day job and I kept working on this and I had a great little side hustle going along. So that's where we got up to. Is anybody relating to this, that everybody's had a full-time job and a side job? Put a 1 in the chat if you've had that sort of experience, or maybe you've got a side hustle at the moment. Yeah, cool. So it sounds like a few of you are building up that way. Now, that's great. And to be perfectly honest with you, I was married at the time. I built a really rundown house. And from this, I had a steady job and I had a side hustle. And the side hustle made me a lot of money and we renovated the house. That was all good. Now, what happened was for me personally in, I think it was 2007, 2008, the GFC hit and I lost the high paying job. So I did what everybody does. I went and grew a beard built a chicken coop and waited for the job offers to roll in. And they didn't happen because no one was hiring. So I decided that I had to do something so I would build up my business that's been a side hustle and take it into being a proper business. And to be perfectly honest with you, it sucked and it was really hard. That was my experience. But what I decided was I had to do something. So I had to find out what successful businesses were doing. So I spent years literally studying psychology, clients, big business to find out what made it. And that is why I created my course called the Client Attraction Blueprint, where I take small business owners just like you through the process of understanding what your client is. And that's the key, because all this digital world is continually changing and it will continue to change. But at the heart of it, if you understand who your client is, what they want, what their needs are, and how you can fix it, you're on a winner to convert your clients. The next big thing is now, how do you find them? Now, let me just move down here. I went from having not enough clients because I was relying on word of mouth. And I hear this every week. I don't need to be online, I've got word of mouth. Well, my first year out in business, I made $126,000, which at the time I was pretty happy with that and thought that was pretty good. The next year was a lot different because the word of mouth had dried up. I was selling high ticket websites that people only needed every 3 years. So when I went back to them in year 2, guess what? They didn't need my services. So that became a real problem. Now, the thing I noticed was, what do my clients want and where do I find the people that need what I want? Now, I get at this stage, I was just like you. It's about consistency. I literally now, even to this day, does anybody remember what this is? Right? No joke. This is full of my clients. I will pick this up daily and I'll ring 30 people out of this book, knowing that I'll get 7 appointments and I'll close 3 deals. Now, cold calling absolutely sucks, but it's a predictable way I can make money. 2 weeks ago, I was walking around Ashmore, 36 degrees day, which for those of you who don't know is a suburb here on the Gold Coast, introducing myself to business owners. We got appointments. Another thing I do, I've got a really bad habit of stopping tradies at traffic lights and saying to them, you've got a really nice ute, it's probably cost you $60,000. It's not going to bring you business. You need to be found by the people that are looking for your service in your area when they're ready. And I get business. So all this, although it gets business, what I want you to think about is what's a predictable way that you can make business for yourself. Now, as I said, picking up the phone book is not fun, but I know it works, but it's not my ideal way of doing it. Because everyone's got one of these. 90% of clients, be it business to business or business consumer, pick up a phone, they look for reviews, referrals, and they do research on Google before they make a purchase. Unfortunately, 50% of Australian businesses can't be found online. So if you type in what you do, where you do it, and you don't come up, you've left money on the table. Now, what I want to do with you tonight is just take you through a few differences between Google and Facebook. Now, given where I was several years ago, Facebook is amazing. People think it's cheap and it's free. It's not, because it's taking your time. So you've got to assess how much do you value your time and how much time are you spending on Facebook. Now, I represent a company at the moment called Local Search, which is a fantastic company. We've been around for almost 30 years and we've got 30,000 clients, and we are a Facebook and Google Premier Partners. So I'm not here to say Facebook is not the way to go. What I'm here to say is I know some people that are absolutely smashing it on Facebook and some people that are spending a lot of time posting on Facebook and not getting any traction. And there's a reason why. Can anybody put your hand up? Happy to unmute yourself. Can anybody tell me what the difference is between Facebook and Google? Yep. Do you want to unmute there? Is Steve?
Google, people search for the business. Facebook, it's an interruption to them, basically.
Spot on. Absolutely spot on. So the way I use this analogy when I'm talking to people, you might be sitting on the couch, the adverts come on, you're watching TV, this comes up, and you're interrupted by an ad. And the idea is you tune in on that ad. And in fact, it happened to me a few weeks ago. I went out, I stayed at a friend's house, and I just had a door key, my phone and my credit card, and I left them by the couch. I slept on the couch. I woke up the next day, checked my phone, and an ad come up for earpods, and I bought them. I'm like, Saturday morning, 8:30. Didn't think of earpods, but earpods came on, and I bought them. But it was an interruption. Google is high intent. It's, I'm looking for earpods. I want them now. Bang, who are the best people? So that's the key difference in the behavioral difference between Google and Facebook. Now, Facebook is very cheap for getting leads and getting to know people. But if you want to step up and really make a difference, you need to have a foot in both camps. And I'm just going to show you why now by sharing my screen. Can everybody use this triangle? Can everybody see this triangle? Give me a 1 in the chat box if you can see this. Yeah, great. Okay, so essentially what happens is people have a problem and they are totally unaware of it. And you have to get them from being unaware to become a buyer. That's called a client journey. So when I spoke earlier about my client attraction blueprint, it's understanding what that client wants, how you serve it, that is going to get them from being problem unaware to buyer unaware and get them converted. But essentially what happens here, and I often use this analogy, most Australians don't have enough super to retire on. And there's a large portion of them that are blissfully unaware of that. So a great way to get people from Facebook and Google is to do this. So currently at the moment, there's a big push. Have you seen Alan Border on TV talking about solar every night? Put your hand up if you've seen that. Yeah, right. And Harvey Norman, big budgets, Maccas, these people have got big budgets and they can spend and spend and spend. Most little guys, like most of you on this call, won't have that sort of budget. And to be truthful, you don't always need that sort of budget to compete. And here's how we can work this out. So if we look at the analogy that most Australians don't have enough super to retire, they're currently in this box at the bottom. They're problem unaware. Now, let's say you were a financial guy and you could help them. You could spend thousands of dollars on Google doing ads, and these people wouldn't be searching for your business or your service because they don't know they've got a problem. You'd be wasting money, time, and effort. Does that make sense? But what we can do, we could target people, and I'm not saying just posting on Facebook. I'm talking about using, local search has artificial intelligence, which is highly targeted machine learning that will target your audience by location, age, hobbies, many criteria. So what we could do, for example, is target people that were, say, 55 years old, that lived in Brisbane and worked in a certain industry. And we could target them with an ad said, like, how's your retirement going to look? Do you know how much money you've got to retire on, or how long that's going to last you? And that's just to prick their conscience and wake them up and get them to take action. Now, many people aren't going to take action. We've got rid of those. We can focus on the next lot. We get them to jump through a hoop. Then they become problem aware. They know they don't have enough super to live off when they get older. So what do we do then? We start to talk to them about solutions. So they become solution aware. And again, I'm not a financial advisor, and everything I'm talking about here is just general advice. But they could look at something like investing in shares, crypto, property, whatever. But then they start to look for a solution. Does that make sense? And then This is when they transform from Facebook into Google. They step across that line. So if they have got a problem, for example, they might share some stuff on Facebook going, hey, does anybody know? I don't, you'd be very comfortable. I'm sure people have done this on Facebook going, hey, I need a plumber. Does anybody need a fencing guy? And you'd be happy to share that sort of information, right? But would you be happy to say to everybody on Facebook, hey, I've just worked out I'm going to be broke when I retire. Can anybody help me out? People don't behave that way because they have a fear of looking bad. Does that make sense? Okay, so then they're going to go into a different world, as Steve said, where they're going to do their own research with a higher intent. And that's where we step across this line here and we start being in the Google world, where they're going to start to look at who is the best property investments, who is the best financial advisors to give the solution that they need. And then finally, once they've done all their research on the solution, they're going to start looking for a buyer. And this is when you need to be the box seat on Google to be there at the end. So currently at the moment, I'm working with some solar guys, several solar guys, because it's very popular at the moment, to take them, their guys, all the way up this ladder could potentially cost them a lot of money. But our old mate here, Alan Border, is on TV every night telling us that electric's too expensive and we have a solution and it's solar. Fantastic. He's doing a great job for my clients because he's telling everybody they have a problem, there is a solution and where to get it. And then, of course, what are they doing at the very end? They're price matching. Like you do, you go out and get 3 quotes, right? That's what we've been taught to do all our lives. You prang your car, you get 3 quotes. It's the same thing. So all we have to do is put him in the box seat. So when people type solar power, his area of Brisbane, he comes up at the top and he's saved all his money on coming up this chain. Does that make sense? So this is obviously a different pathway for every business. Every business is unique. Every industry is unique. And I know people that are in the same industry, in the same area, that need a different way of doing this because they're as unique as they are and their business. So that's just to give you an idea of how it works. Now, a lot of you will know how Facebook works, and this isn't a masterclass in Facebook. What it is, it's the other side of the coin, really, of what do you want to know about Google? There's plenty of people out there telling you how to use Facebook, and if you're getting a great result, awesome. But unless you're running Facebook ads, you're gonna, because it is a suggestive and a disruptive platform, there will become a level to how many people will come up your pipeline. Now, that's not to say you won't make money on Facebook, you certainly will, but you also need to be in the other side of the camp. So I'm just going to reshare my screen here and show you something else. Okay, so this is a company called Local Search that I represent. I love working at Local Search. The reason I love working at Local Search is because, as you know from my history, I love consulting. I love working with small business owners. But what was not working with my business was I was having to consult with them, find the work, and then keep up, and Nick was saying, with all this damn technology that is literally changing all the time. At Local Search, they have 130 specialists at the office in Robina that are soaking this up, and a dedicated training room that guys like me come to every month to learn what the changes are. But I don't have to spend hours and hours up every night learning the stuff. So that's what I love about Local Search. Now, just real quickly, we've changed. A lot of people talk about word of mouth. I don't need to be online, I've got word of mouth. Yeah, word of mouth in a principle is fantastic. It's been around for hundreds of years. And if your phone can ring and there's someone wanting to give you business, that's a great place to be. But now people are doing it online. Now, obviously, Facebook is really good for back and forth engagement, but it's not the only way. There's all these ways. There's Google My Business, there's Google Ads, there's Instagram, there's Facebook, and our own local directory. I won't go too much into that. Now, just so you know who local search are, just to give you a bit of credibility, local search has been around for almost 30 years. Every one of these dots on this map is where we are represented, and we have 30,000 clients. And I get the privilege of having to travel all around Australia, working with business owners to help get them online. And this is our team here, as you can see, in the building at Robina. But let's get to the most important bit here. Getting found on Google. Now, for a lot of people, they just get, I'm on Google, but people don't necessarily know how to get found on Google, what area, and what's important about that. So as you can see here, there's 3 different areas to get found in Google. And in this third way, there's at least 2 things you need to know. So if we start up here, we have what we call Google Ads. Google Ads are really effective, but you need to do them properly. And when I say properly, not just be, excuse me, let's get off there. Not just be a genius at Google, but understanding if Google Ads are right for your business. I literally have customers that are in Sydney, very densely populated area in a very high competitive industry, such as air conditioning and sparkies. They spend $4,000 a week on Google Ads. Sounds crazy, right? But what they're making is about $24,000 to $26,000 on the back end. It's not just what you put in. Now, anybody can set up a Google ad, but before you do, you'd want to ask yourself, what is the profit margin in your business? Can you afford to run Google ads? So for example, I'm dealing with a guy at the moment who does high-end shutters. You know, like we all have them on the Gold Coast, awnings and blinds. Now, he's a very high-end product, but his people will probably only buy from him once or twice. What they're going to do, the best he can hope for, is that they buy a second house within a few years and do it all again, or better still, they tell all their friends and he gets Google reviews. But because he's got plenty of margin on that, he can run these. If you're running something like maybe a hairdresser's, where you got a lot of repeat business, but you're only maybe paying $30, $40 for a haircut, you probably haven't got the margins to be in this area of the game, and that's okay. The other thing is, when you run your Google ads, there's a few considerations. Anybody can set up a Google ad. You could do it now in probably 10 minutes, but it's going to be effective. And there's a number of criteria that make it work. What it does is, when Google creates an ad, it gives you a quality score. And this is based on a number of things, including your website. If your website isn't of good quality, your score goes down, which means effectively when you run Google ads, it's a bidding war, and you will be paying more than your competitors that do have a better website. The other thing to consider is, when you put your budget in there, your ad has got to run all day. If you don't put enough budget in there, that will get chewed up, and your ads aren't going to show up in prime time. So there's a lot to know around there. The next one is one of my favorite products. It's the simplest to do. Any business can do it, and I'm going to show you some results here. This is called Google My Business. It's really amazing for local businesses, particularly if they've got bricks and mortar, but any business should set this up. But there's a few things you need to know. This is great for locals. You can find maps on there, reviews. Anytime I go into a town and I look for stuff, I travel a lot, I just dial in hairdresser, pizza, pub, hotel, whatever it is. I can look at where they are, how far away. I can get directions. I can look at reviews, and I can leave reviews. So it's a really powerful tool. Now we can help manage that so it becomes a fun thing, not arduous, where we do all the heavy lifting in the back end, and you as the business owner interact with this in a very similar way that you would do with Facebook. You can add products, you can add reviews, you can put tips and tricks up there. And what happens is Google rewards you for being interactive on this platform. Just like if we become friends on Facebook, I'm going to be seeing all your stuff all the time. And then you miss a few of my posts, I miss a few of your posts, and we don't see one another as much. There's an algorithm for that. This kind of works a similar way, that the more you do in here, the more you're going to be rewarded. Does that make sense? And to give you an idea how powerful this is, I'm just going to share another screen with you real quick. Apologies, I had this open, but I closed it earlier. My mistake here. Right. Okay, can we all see this? Yeah, great, awesome. So those of you who don't know, Mount Isa is in northwest Queensland. It's in the middle of nowhere. It's like an oasis. There's only 22,000 people there. Okay, so because of that low population, there's less competition. You might notice here, there's no Google Ads at the top. So why this is really important is this Google My Business is the next big thing. So when you're on a mobile or you're on your desktop, it's the first thing that gets seen. So back in July, I went to Mount Isa and I met this guy at Triangle Butchery called Sean. He wasn't found online anywhere. He had an A-frame out the front of his shop. That was the only way he got business. We set him up with the Google My Business. Now he's being found. And you say, well, he might argue, well, yeah, he gets local business. Everybody knows where he is. But also in Mount Isa, 25% of the population are transient because of the mines. And a lot of people travel through, such as the grey nomads, going from Brisbane, Townsville and Darwin. So he's picking up a lot of extra trade, but he's not going to run Google Ads. So you can see how each one of these is different and it's got to be thought out. So now the two other butchers in town found me, rang me up and said, we want some of that too. So now they're getting that. So they're all getting extra business and their customers get to choose which one they want to deal with. And one other thing I want to say with you, I'm currently losing weight at the moment and I'm doing three things. I'm reducing my alcohol content or intake, I should say. I'm improving my nutrition and I'm going to the gym. So those three things will make a difference. But when I do all three of those together, synergistically, they're having a bigger impact. And that's the other thing you need to consider here with Google. So what you notice is with this guy, he's the busiest butcher in town now. And this is why. He's in spot number 1 with the Google My Business. He's also found in our directory. And if we look further down, he's got a website. So Google is looking at this guy going, wow, you're investing in your business and you're showing up 3 places and you're making an effort. We're going to reward you by bringing you up the ladder. Does that make sense? All right, cool. So let me just come back here. Okay, so that's a little bit about Google My Business. Now, for those of you that are interested in that, you can set that up yourself and get it running literally in minutes, and it's great. Few things to be considered though. If you do not nurture this, this is like a baby, it will not grow and it can be hacked. And we have had people, we've got a lot of it going on at the moment. We were having to fix these up for people because they've ignored it. And you get a little notice that comes up. If you search a few of these, it says, claim this business. That gives you the opportunity to go in and claim that business. Now, there's a guy I know who actually has hijacked this for Virgin Australia. He was sitting in Brisbane Airport, searching, they come up and he noticed it was unclaimed, and he's claimed the Google My Business of Virgin Australia. And basically we're waiting for the phone call for when they go, can we have it back? So you can have a lot of, I've seen some really bad photos and stuff put on there. I've had clients where they've had their competitors put on there that they're permanently closed, all sorts of stuff. And you're missing out on the opportunity to get your business come up high in local searches. So definitely jump on there and give it a go. For those of you that are wanting to know the difference here, like I said, the Google ads here, I've got people that spend $4,000 a week. I've got people that spend $1,000 a month. This little Google My Business here, we manage that and optimize it for you for $19 a week. So you can do it yourself, but if time's a factor and results are important, talk to me and we can work that out really quickly. Now, down in the third section is where the organic rankings come up. So this is your website, directories come up here. So ideally, you want to have a quality website that will come up here. So what makes your website come up here? Potentially any website will come up, but like in these little outback towns, you could have a really bad website and it will come up. But if you're in Sydney, Melbourne, Brisbane, populated areas where there's more competition, your website's got to be better to come up. Now, you've got to look at the platform it's on. So a lot of small business owners will make websites on Wix, GoDaddy, Squarespace, things like that. And they look pretty. And if you're starting out, that's a great place to start. I'd rather you have a website than no website, hands down. But the problem is with these platforms is they are very hard to code and put SEO onto there. That's search engine optimization. It's like if we were to go across the Australian desert, I'd be buying a Land Cruiser where I could put bigger suspension, bigger tires, carry extra fuel. I can customize that vehicle for the journey. If I had a RAV4, I'm stuck with what I got. And it's a similar thing with these, Wix, GoDaddy, these sort of do-it-yourself things. Now, they're great to get you started, but if you're serious about getting on the first page of Google, they're really not going to be the choice. The best thing would be to do, whether you do it yourself or you get a designer to do it, or you come see me, is to get yourself a WordPress website, get it up there, and then it can be able to be SEO'd. Now, if you don't have an SEO budget, there are things. Go to YouTube, which is the third most popular website in the world. It's Google, Facebook, and YouTube. Go onto YouTube. You'll probably, well, I know you will because I've looked at them myself. Go and find some websites, some videos that will show you how to SEO. And it's simply about getting your content clear and filling in some meta tags. This stuff changes. It's never going to make you an expert, but it's a step in the right direction. And if you decide that you're ready to play the big game and you want to get found on the first page of Google and money isn't an object because you've done your sums and you know that your return on investment will outweigh your marketing efforts, come see me. I'm happy to help you out. But as smaller businesses that maybe where budget is an issue, there are things you can do. Get on WordPress, it's free. Even if you pay, $50 for a theme and do some SEO yourself, it's going to get you up there. Now, for people that don't have a lot of time and money to build their own website, or they've built a website that's taking time to come up through the rankings, a great idea is online directories. So for tradies, that's things like High Pages or House. For pretty much any business, it could be the local search directory. I'll be fair, you've got Yellow Pages, which is the competition, but they're a good way. And the way they work is, let's have a look at the local search directory is literally billions of pages, billions. And because of that, Google holds that in high regard. So if you to type in Brisbane accountants, mortgage broker Gold Coast, mechanic, Mount Isa, we come up because we've done all the SEO. And because that comes up, you can be paid and be in our directory and that brings you to the top of Google without you having to spend thousands of dollars on websites and SEO. So it's a bit of a cheap way to get there. But simply put, the more places you are in Google, the more you're going to show up. Does that make sense? Yeah? Cool. Now, does anybody have any questions around this? We got a bit of time. So this will differ for every business, and every business is unique. If anybody wants to ask me some questions about their situation, I'm happy to give you some general advice. Yep, go for it, Steve.
Retargeting ads.
Yep.
Because I it's like when you're on Facebook or wherever and you click and and all of a sudden I'm on YouTube looking at things and I'm bombarded by that. So you can do that on YouTube and on Google.
Yeah, and on Facebook really well. So what happens is let's say for argument's sake, just no arbitrary figure. No marketing is free. Even if you're taking someone out for a coffee, it costs you money. You produce a book, it costs you money. All advertising in some way, shape or form costs you money. So let's say you were running a Facebook ad and the Facebook ad was, say, buy my course. If someone clicks on the ad, goes to your website, and then they get disturbed, the dog's barking, see you later, whatever, people get interrupted in their lives. You've spent $1, $10, whatever it might be to get that person there. Now, they've left. So instead of that dollar going to waste, for example, we can send that person a retargeted message and show it up. So if you go to, say, Toyota and you're looking at the RAV4 and then you disappear, it's quite often that you'll pick up, and you're with high intent, by the way, you're in Google looking for your RAV4, and then later you jump on Instagram or you jump on Facebook to check out your social stuff and Toyota ads come up. Now, the way that works is the remarketing ads that we send as a reminder is a fraction of the cost of the main ad. So what it does is a cheap way to sort of give you a second bite at the apple. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I understand how it works. I think it's a more cost-effective way than just doing a Google ad at the top of Google, though, isn't it?
Depends on what you're doing. I mean, we find Google ads aren't for everybody, but in my experience, plumbers, sparkies, aircon, locksmith, dentists, mortgage brokers, people flock to that, because what tends to happen is they have a problem and they need it fixed now, and they click on the first thing they see at the top of the page. Yes. So that works particularly well. But again, you need to make sure you've got your your profit margins. We do what we call business needs analysis on how much profits in there, how many clients you need, and what the ads are going to work to make sure you can afford to run the ads. But yeah, again, depending on what you wanted to do, for what you were saying, building earlier, you want to rebuild what you've done. I think Google ads, I wouldn't recommend them for you. They'd be very expensive. I'd recommend targeted Facebook ads with remarketing to really rebuild up what you do. And that wouldn't be the only thing I do. Again, my 5 daily modes of operation, I'd be doing a few other things, such as even that the Dragon's Wealth that Nick was talking about. Lots of little things like that that'll make the difference to help rebuild your list to get you back in the game.
Yeah.
But even if you've got I've got a guy at the moment, we've driven over 200,000 people have seen his ad in the last 30 days. Big numbers, right? But he's selling a $17,000 course. So we're hitting the traffic, we're getting it to his website, and then people are like, so that's not about the traffic, that's about his offer. So we've actually changed it now to put a small teaser offer in there. Again, a bit like the Dragon's Wealth, where you do something free as a little tripwire ad that gets the trust, gets the familiarity, and then go for the bigger ad. Does that make sense? So I'm not sure what you're selling, but we can have a chat about that later if you like.
Yeah. No, I understand it all. I was just, getting bombarded by remarketing and everything. That's all. And a lot of people don't get it. So I thought I'd bring it up for you.
No, thank you. Anybody else?
Can I ask you a question, Tim?
Absolutely.
So I've got the art business and my audience is Australia. How well does the Google My Business go when you are online and you're relying on that online business?
What sort of stuff do you do? Oh, you do arts and crafts, that's right.
Yes, so I've got a Shopify store. So I'm not talking about the supplies because that's pretty, that runs by itself. But in February, I'll be launching the online art classes again.
Yeah.
And that will be for an Australian audience. Well, it doesn't have to be an Australian audience, it can be anywhere, but I'll be targeting Australia.
Right, okay, so, but it's an online course.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, so what I'd be doing is, Google Ads aren't your thing. I would set up every business if I was in charge of the country, whether you do it yourself or you pay someone like Local Search. When you set up an ABN, you should get your Google My Business, just as a credibility factor where people can leave you reviews, know who you are and find you, irrespective of how much traffic.
So I got my little postcard in the mail to verify my business and everything. So I do have it set up. It's not, I don't even think it's 100% yet. It definitely doesn't have a review on it.
What I would do is every time you have a great interaction with a client, ask them if they will leave you a review and then direct them to that page. You can just send them a link, email a link, and just say, hey, I'm just following up. How'd you go, with the products or the experience, if you loved it, or just say, look, not even if you loved it, we'd love to hear your feedback. And then even if they give you, like a 3-star, you can go in there and you can acknowledge that, learn from it as a business owner so you can please other people. And, people are going to give you bad reviews, but the more reviews you get, the higher that's going to come up. So is your business overall, that will help your business. In terms of driving people to both those websites, targeted Facebook ads would be the way to go.
Yeah.
So what we would do with them, for example, we have machine learning. So we would send an advert, it might be, say, like for you, it might be a Christmas present you could do if it's for kids or back to school or something like that. I'm not sure what it's about, but we could run an ad and we'd run it for 18 to 65-year-olds.
Yeah.
Where are you based? Are you Brisbane?
Gold Coast.
Gold Coast, yeah, same as us, right? So let's say, for example, let's keep it simple. We would run that ad for 30 days from 18 to 65-year-olds, male and females, and the machine just learns who's engaging with it. And if it says, for example, men aren't just clicking on it, we take that ad spend and put it more on the female side, and then we'll refine that. Then over time, your ad spend gets more effective because you're hitting the right people. Your conversion rate goes up because you're talking to the people that engage. And then Facebook, because it's got so much data, we can find out that your average customer might be a 37-year-old white woman who lives in, Runaway Bay. We can go and find another 10,000 of her. So your ads become really effective. And if your business is set up right, it will just run itself. That's the ideal scenario. It doesn't work for everybody, but that's the power of Facebook and targeted ads.
Okay. Thank you.
No, you're welcome. But definitely have a foot in each camp. Get Facebook reviews, but also get Google reviews as well.
Yeah, I've actually just signed up. I don't know if you know of Chantel Girardi, who's here.
Yeah, I've known Chantel for about 4 years, yeah.
Yeah, so I start with her in December. So I signed up to her last month, but I said I just need to get through November and I'll start with her in December. So she's going to help me really sort of like target those online classes and get the word out there.
People like Chantel are really good at getting you online, getting your confidence up, finding out who your ideal target market is and building that up and getting really comfortable with being on Facebook. Maybe run some like manual ads where you boost posts. Now, I'm going to say something here. Boosting posts can be problematic. You've got to really know what you're doing with boosting posts.
Boosting posts have worked for me in the past. I've boosted them, even though you're not meant to boost posts, but I've boosted some and they've worked for me.
Oh yeah, they're not working. it's like putting a baby in a Lamborghini. It could work out well, but it could not.
Yeah.
But again, what Chantel will work with you is get the like fundamentals down to make sure you really understand Facebook, your audience, and how it all works. And then if you have a business model where you've got a reusable product on a website that's solid, and it's just a case of sending traffic and you don't have to be involved, you get to that level of your business where you're doing it manually with her and it works, then come see us and really do the targeted AI ads.
Yep.
Will make a real difference. But certainly what you do with her is a great first step.
Yeah, great. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, good. You will. Yeah, you'll get a lot of value out of that.
Yeah.
Who's next?
Hi, Tim.
Hey, Annie, how you doing?
Good, thanks. I'm just at the point of starting to develop my advertising for my business. I'm still working full-time and trying to build this up on the side so I can eventually do it full-time.
Okay.
I'm an animal communicator and animal medium, so not your normal kind of business. I'm also an author, and I do energetic healing for people as well. So I've got kind of a mixed bag of skills. I have had my first website built, and it is on the Wix platform, and at the moment I've had one customer from that, so I'm getting more at the moment from word of mouth from people and going to little psychic and health expos and actually meeting people and building the relationships there and getting repeat business from that. So my ideal audience is someone who owns an animal or someone who's grieving for an animal that's passed over. I've done some targeted ads on Facebook, particularly with doing my book launches, but I just need to accelerate what I'm doing to get to more people who need me.
I deal with I have a very good personal friend of mine. She's a medium. She reads the Akashic Records, and she's based in New Zealand. And about 2 years ago, she said, there's a lot of women just like me that need your help. And now I've got quite a following of what I call my woo-woo ladies, and I say that with the greatest of respect. What I know to be true for you girls is it's all about relationships, and it's very, very much word of mouth.
Mm-hmm.
So what I would be doing with you is, get a nice, simple website set up.
Yeah.
Get your Google My Business set up, but your guys are going to certainly be on Facebook. I'd be getting into groups, because groups can be really powerful.
Mm-hmm.
And then they supercharge it. So if they have a good experience, get them to share. You want them to put your reviews on Facebook and Google and get them to share, because this sort of stuff, what you do is very, very intimate. It's very, very personable. And even if you did a free test, like this friend of mine, Amy, and Pam in Canada, they started off doing 30-minute free trials for people. It was a little bit cumbersome, but if you've got that solid income coming in because you're working, do those. You might have to do a couple of weeks just to build up some. You'll find out great stuff about you, what your clients want that will be valuable, and you'll get reviews and testimonials. And those testimonials are going to go on Facebook and on your Google My Business. But I would doubt whether, maybe we could do it. Actually, we could use something called the Google Keyword Planner, where you could type in, like medium, Brisbane or whatever, and Google will tell you how many people are searching for that. If you go Brisbane plumber, there's 10,000 every month.
Yep.
Probably there'll be 100 of what you do, if that, in Queensland, right? So people aren't going to find that on Google, but they will talk and share about it more on Facebook. And that's the point I wanted to make tonight, between the social side of Facebook, but there's got amazing targeting, but it's suggestive versus high intent and targeting with Google. But certainly, get your Google My Business set up, finish your website, and then actually for you, maybe boosting posts is a really good thing. If you had a little video that explains what you did in like a couple of minutes, even if you jumped onto, probably Nick could help you out here, with a couple of simple video tools. So if you had a simple video that went for a couple of minutes where you explained what you did, you had someone that jumped on and said, hey, this was my experience with Annie. I was experiencing X, Y, and Z. Then I did A, B, C, and this is the outcome. And you had that as a little video and you got people to like that. Then you started to boost that. I think that would probably be the most cost-effective way to get traction with that. And as I said, get into some groups.
Okay, I'm planning to do the groups, and I have done an introductory video which some people have commented on. I've got friends and clients talking about their experiences with me, and I've increased the number of, I'm trying to do daily posts on my Facebook page and more educational things about problems people might have and how they can get solutions. So, yep, that's...
You might actually just also want to talk to Chantel. Very often what happens is with Facebook, you can have thousands of people following you and you post something and only about 3% of your audience gets to see it. They've engineered it that way because they want Facebook to be a pay-to-play platform. And I know with local search, we're about paid advertising on the Facebook platform. We don't do organic posting for people, but there may be some things that maybe Chantel can help you out with there.
Okay, great. Thank you for that.
You're very welcome. Who's next?
Yeah, sorry, I can go next. I forgot to unmute.
Hey, Ron.
Yeah, hi. Look, very similar to Annie, I'm in the pet industry with a product, and I was just interested in the reviews, building reviews on Google My Business and Facebook. So when you were saying you're sending out an email or chasing up customers to give you reviews, some of them are giving reviews on Facebook, but not on Google My Business. So how do I get the idea that you can actually transfer them, or do they need to actually do both of them?
What will happen is, for many of my clients, I recommend that they're normally on three things. They'll be doing Facebook themselves, because we don't do the organic posting, we just do the ads, right? So very, very often they'll be on Facebook themselves, managing that themselves. They've got Google My Business where they can have reviews. And also with our online directory, the local search directory, people can leave you reviews. But if you manage the Google My Business, and it is a bit of there's back end stuff that we do, but what it can do is Google can go around. So if you say to your clients, hey, have you enjoyed the service? Would you like to give me some feedback? And then give them a couple of links where they can choose where they want to leave the review, be it on Google or Facebook. But Google, because it knows everything, even though they've left a review on Facebook, Google will go and find that out. So if you search a few businesses, let me see if we can find one just now, just bear with me. It will bring all those reviews into one place. Let me just have a look here.
Are you saying that that Google will eventually find Facebook reviews and repost them on Google My Business?
Yeah. So let's see this guy. I'm trying to look for someone that's got it. But if you look through, just do this yourself. Randomly go and search a few business names. And when you click on their Google My Business and you go into it, it'll come up with a page. It will have reviews. And it will say, these are my Google reviews. And these are reviews we found on Facebook. Or these are reviews we found on maybe Yellow Pages or Local Search or White Pages or whatever other directories you're associated with. So that is the power of Google, that it can gather things that aren't even on its platform, such as Facebook.
Do I understand my preference really would be for the clients to post on Google My Business?
I'd say that's ideal, but I don't force clients to do anything. I give them options. You'll get better results that way. If you say to them, would you give us, you can't say, if you like me, go on Google. What I'd say is, could you give me some feedback on your service? And you could post it on Facebook or Google, whatever works for you. And then they'll choose, because some people I personally, I spend a lot of time doing Facebook stuff for work. Personally, I'm not a big Facebook person. Just personally, I don't do it. I'd rather meet you for a coffee than have a chat on Facebook. But for some people, they spend their entire life on Facebook and Instagram. It's just what works for different people. And there's no right or wrong. It's just, they're different.
Yeah. It's just I'm trying to boost those Google My Business reviews.
Yeah, or I'd certainly be saying just if you start just asking your clients, because most people don't, they're just so caught up in doing the work, they forget about it. But if you just built into your process of every time you have a client, you do the job, then you do the follow-up, which is, do the invoice and do the banking side of it. Just make it part of your process that you have an email template that you send out to them and say, hey, Bob, really thanks for trusting me with your pet recently, hope everything's going out, blah, blah, blah. Would you like to leave us your feedback? And even if they come back and go, hey, I didn't like the way you did this or this, you go, great, let's talk about that offline. And then you've learned something about your business. It's a really great opportunity for both of you to benefit from it.
Good. Can I just ask one more question about local listing?
Yeah.
On Google My Business. My territory is really Australia, New Zealand.
Yeah.
And I have listed that as our listing, but they do keep asking me for the address.
Yes, you can have up to 14 locations listed under your Google My Business. And there's some rules around that. 14 locations, but your key locations, they want to see a sign. So if your address is actually posted so the public can see it, by law, you should have a sign outside. So for Google Car, how they have those little cameras on that goes past, you should have a sign out there. And if you don't, you should take the address off and just say what your suburb is or what your town is.
So as an online business,
but it's still about, even though, as you saw with the example before with the butchers, Google My Business is really great for local businesses. But even if you just say, I service the world with this online program, the fact that you've got a stake in the ground and you're in, say, Brisbane or Gold Coast or wherever, that's a good point to be. And you just use it as a place to gather, verify who you are, but get reviews.
Okay.
People now, reviews, research and recommendations, it's massive.
Okay, well, thanks for that.
No problems.
Got one other question here from Stephen, who's tucked away in Papua New Guinea with not much coverage. He's asking, what about consultant to SMEs specialising in building a positive culture, unaware of the value of a positive culture on the bottom line? That is, the business owners are unaware of the problem. Not that Stephen's aware about it. Not that he's unaware of it, but the business owners are unaware of it.
So he's dealing with business owners that are unaware of a problem?
Yeah, so, and the problem is building a positive culture. So he's about helping businesses to build a positive culture, but they're unaware that there's even a problem and that, positive culture is the thing they should be looking at.
Right, so we can do, I would be targeting paid advertising or going into groups organically. You'd be talking into business groups and asking questions like, do you have staff numbers dropping off? What's your attendance rate? All these signs that culture's not good within a business, and use those as questions to prick the curiosity, if you will, of the people he's targeting. Because there might be things going on, like if you keep having staff not showing up for work, orders aren't going out the door, you're losing clients, you're paying other staff members maybe bonus times. It's very inefficient, it's costing them. But he would know the underlying pain points that they're not aware of, and just keep pricking those by reaching. If they're unaware, they're not going to be searching on Google. You have to reach out to them in either groups or targeting via Facebook would be the most effective way.
And possibly LinkedIn?
Oh, possibly LinkedIn, yeah.
Yeah, I know he's there as well. Excellent. Oh, he says brilliant. So you've obviously answered.
Sorry, just one thing with LinkedIn. We have a LinkedIn direct marketing I know we don't personally do it local search, but I do know people that have done very, very well with direct marketing and LinkedIn. Now people go, but I've got a CEO, who's my target audience. Let's get him on LinkedIn. It's like, yeah, you could get him on LinkedIn, but even though he's a CEO, doesn't mean he's active on LinkedIn. But with like virtually everybody in Australia, I forget what the exact number is though, but pretty much every adult in Australia is on Facebook. So even though he might be the CEO and not LinkedIn, you can grab him on Facebook.
Absolutely. And that's a good reason for looking at cross-channel communication. You can
100%,
communicate on
yeah.
one, and then you bring him over onto the other.
And again, the 5 modes of operation. So whether I'm picking up my phone, I'm knocking on the door, I'm picking up an old phone book, or local search, you may have seen our TV ads. We drink their own Kool-Aid with our Facebook. It's do lots of different activities every day, because that's how you're consistently going to reach your people.
Excellent.
And I jokingly say to my clients, but I've had guys that do this, it doesn't matter if you've got a chicken suit standing on the end of the road. If you've got a guy in a chicken suit and he's bringing you in clients, good luck to you.
Awesome. Oh, that was an excellent evening, because what you brought in, I think, Tim, is, it's easy to get, sort of overwhelmed with some of the technical stuff. And, when you speak to web guys and web people, they'll just get in and sort of, talk tech often. But what you've given us is some really common sense stuff, and it's like real world examples about how to do marketing, and your digital marketing is just part of that mix. So yeah, so I really appreciate that. It's been a good night. How's everyone found it? Just if you've really had a good night with Tim, I think he's given good information. Just drop us a yes or a Y in chat, just to let us know that it's been helpful for you tonight.
Cool. Thank you guys. I really appreciate your time and your effort. You could have been doing anything tonight, and you chose to spend it with myself and Nick. So thank you for giving your time so generously. And if anybody does need any help, I'm happy to sit down for half an hour, a bit online or over the phone, with any business owners, whether it's you guys or friends of yours. Go through a digital strategy that, will be a plan for them without obligation. Because what I'm doing here is I've seen the power of what this stuff can do for businesses. And I've also been on the other side of the fence where it doesn't work and it's not real flash. So if I can help any business owner, because I know small business owners are making a difference out there in the world. So my mission is to help them. So anybody, maybe it's yourself or friends that needs a hand, drop me a line. I'll put my email in the chat, knock me up, and I'm happy to talk to you without obligation.
Excellent. Oh, that's a good offer. Thanks for that, Tim.
Thanks, mate.
And you've also got a prize for tonight. Do you want to unshare your screen, and then I'll bring up ours as well.
Cool.
So we do have a couple of prizes tonight. So I think what we might do is we've got Aldrin on here that is offering a ticket to her workshop as a prize tonight. So Aldrin, do you want to just tell us a wee bit about that?
Sure. Thank you, Nick. Yes, I have a ticket to the How to Gain $1 Million worth of free publicity workshop. I have done this workshop in the physical form in Sydney, Melbourne, Gold Coast, Brisbane, LA, Thailand, New Zealand, and it's been online, and this is the last one for the year. People have gone straight out and got publicity after this workshop. It's from 11 till 2 p.m. on Thursday in just 2 days' time, and it's worth $47 plus booking fee, and he's won one already tonight, and the next one is going to be given away to the lucky winner on here.
Awesome, and we've got a special way of drawing that. And what a perfect time to be getting free publicity. Christmas is coming up, so great time to be getting it.
Absolutely, lots of opportunities now for free publicity.
And Aldrin's workshop is awesome as well. I've been along to it; it's excellent. All right, well, we've got the wheel of names. We haven't pulled this out for a while, so let's give it a spin and see who wins. So a big virtual drum roll. And you have to be here to win. And we have Judith Briggs.
Congratulations, Judith.
So, is Judith still in the room? Yes, Judith is still here. Excellent. So maybe if Aldrin and Judith, if you just sort of swap email and get in touch with each other, well worthwhile workshop to go along to. So congratulations.
Thank you so much. Thanks, Nick. Congratulations.
And we've also got Tim, who has a special prize for us tonight as well too. So Tim, tell us about that. You might need to unmute so we don't read your lips.
There we go. The lucky winner will get a copy of my Client Attraction Blueprint, which is a 7-step guide to working out about your brand and how you fit in with your clients.
Awesome. Excellent. So that'll, after all the information you've shared tonight, that would be a super valuable thing. Where's my name? It's not on the wheel. All right. I'll hit you up for a coffee sometime, Tim.
All right, let's do that.
All right. Let's spin the wheel again for our lucky winner. Last one of the night. And it's Aldwin.
See, what comes around goes around. It's the law of reciprocity. Amazing.
Right.
There you go. Isn't it the old thing that givers gain?
That's it.
Excellent, excellent. All right, what a fantastic evening that was tonight. So thank you everyone for turning up. Thank you for Tim for being so generous with your time. I know you could have been doing something else tonight as well too. Yeah. And hopefully everyone got a sort of something out of that they can use and for their business as well too. So just a couple of things before we head away. We have tomorrow the office hours, 10 o'clock tomorrow morning, Australian Eastern Standard Time. What's at 10, 11, 12, 1 o'clock New Zealand time. New South Wales, what's at 11 o'clock. That there is a no agenda, no speaker, coffee chat on, virtual coffee chat with, anyone that wants to show up. We do have some really good conversations there. There are some people that are on here tonight that have been, Annie and Jane and Aldrin are regulars there as well. And we do have good discussions coming up there. So just bring a coffee, cup of tea, glass of wine, whatever you have it. 10 o'clock in the morning, come and join us. There's a link in the chat there to come and register for that. And it's on Zoom, so, we're all familiar with that these days. The other thing, too, is this session tonight. If you want to see it again, it'll be uploaded to the SmashGo YouTube channel. So it should be there by... depending on sort of how quickly it is to upload it. We've got to upload it in the Philippines and the internet's sort of not as quick as it is in some areas here. So it'll be there by tomorrow evening. So best thing to do is to go over to the SmashGo YouTube channel, go and subscribe. There's a little bell icon as well. If you click that, then you'll get a notification as soon as it's up there. And the link to that is in chat as well too. Other thing is next week, we will be back again next week as well too. So that'll be next Tuesday, same time, same place. And we'll sort of make the announcement as to who the speaker is. I should know this, shouldn't I? But I'm not really that prepared. I know my team have got all that under control. But so next Tuesday, again, the link for that is in chat as well too. So feel free to go and click on it now. Go and register now so that you get the reminder when that's up tomorrow. And lastly... Tim has been talking about Google reviews being one of the important things. I would love to get your review on our page. We do have a Google My Business page. If you go to Google and see SmashGo, just go and leave us a review and let us know what you've thought of tonight, or more importantly, how you found your time sort of coming along to these as well too. It really does make a difference. If you can spend a few moments doing it, that link that I've just popped into chat there, it'll open up the review. It's nice and easy. Just click the 5-star and just leave a comment. It doesn't have to be long. It can be a sentence, or you can leave an essay as well too. So that's it for tonight. So once again, thanks Tim for your time and sharing your wisdom and knowledge tonight. And
thank you, everybody.
Thank you for everyone for coming along tonight, and look forward to seeing some of you tomorrow and some of you next week. Go out and have a good evening.
Thank you.
Thank you for tuning in and listening to the Business Owners Smashing It Online podcast. You can also find me on social media and online. Just search for Business Owners Smashing It Online and Nick Cree, spelled Nikree, all one word. If you like this and want to hear more, subscribe now. Until next time, don't be a slave to your business. Get your business working for you.